Really appreciate that. So next up, I'd like to welcome actually Pastor Steve Baker from Community Bible Church. Steve has dedicated nearly 30 years to full-time ministry and has a passion for biblical teaching, leadership, and discipleship. Since 2016, he's been the lead pastor at CBC and has been a pastor to myself, my family, and someone I'm proud to call a friend. Steve holds a bachelor's degree of science and practical theology from Northland International University and has a master's of arts and theological studies from Veritas Evangelical Seminary. Before stepping into full-time ministry, Steve was a teacher for middle school and high school. Beyond ministry, Steve's been married to his wife for 29 years. They have 5 boys and they live here in Howell. So his leadership is really marked by a heart of service and a dedication to biblical teaching and a desire to see lives transformed through faith. But he also has a real passion for us meeting real needs here in our community. So please join me in welcoming Steve to the stage.
Good morning. I'd like to thank LESA, Jonathan, and Allison for putting this together. And some of you I know, many of you I don't, but we have a lot in common. We live in this community, as Allison stated. In fact, I've served in 4 ministries. This is the first that I've lived in the community before I served. We love this community. My boys love downtown Howell. And if you see identical twin boys, 16 years old, downtown Howell is probably mine. They're there. It seems like all the time. And we have kids, 5 boys. I grew up with 5 sisters, no brothers. If anything will destroy your faith, try being the oldest and pray every time that God will give you a boy, a brother. But now there's fairness, there's justice. I've got these 5 boys. And when I think about the different stages of their lives, it can really rob us of hope. And I want to talk for a few moments about hope amid the fear. Incredible presentations here this morning. And in many ways, we could feel that there's this generational gap. And so how do we have hope in parenting in an environment that is a bit unfamiliar to us? We think of the different stages in life, and I think of these aha moments where I began to realize I am not in control, that these kids have a mind of their own. I remember my oldest going off to kindergarten, and after 1 week coming back, and he was singing this amazing song, "If You Want to Be My Lover." I remember thinking, is that what the kindergarten teacher is teaching him? Of course, I knew better. Found out later it was from some cartoon, and then I remember dropping that same kid off for college a few years ago, and the emotion that went with that. I remember hearing the news of a son that was going through very difficult things and was on the brink. How do you have hope in the midst of that? And so I want to speak from my perspective as a parent, some authors that have been an encouragement to me, and hopefully this will be an encouragement to you as well. If you compare human beings to an onion, and Simon Sinek says start with why, that's kind of the center of the onion. I talk about that every Sunday. I think the next layer out is the how. And I want to talk for a minute about the how. And so here's 3 things that have been encouragement to me in my study and my own parenting. 1, there is hope when we move from obstacle to opportunity. So my oldest hit his teen years, and there was that stage. And I remember doing the math and realizing, based on the age of my younger children, I was now headed into 14 years of parenting teenagers. And that was daunting. And so this book, Age of Opportunity by Paul David Tripp, was really a help to me. And he says this. There we go. Something is fundamentally wrong with the way we think about the stages in a child's life. Something is inherently wrong with the cultural epidemic of fear and cynicism in rearing children. Something is wrong when a parent's highest goal is survival. We need to take another look. So that was me, guilty of thinking survival, 14 years of survival. And this book really challenged me to change my thinking. Instead of viewing this as an obstacle just to survive, this was an opportunity. This was a window into the heart of a child. So when we think about technology as a focus here today, let's think in terms of hopefully opportunity and not obstacle. That we are seeing things that we have an opportunity to deal with. For example, something not related to parenting, but I think we can apply. When I was training for ministry, I was at a hospital visit with a mentor, and it was a very difficult, dark moment. There was somebody actually on their deathbed. And I remember being there and witnessing all of that, and then it was daunting, thinking, man, this is the life that I've chosen to be a part of, and I want to help, but this is very heavy. And I asked my mentor, how do you process that? And what he said to me was so helpful, I think it applies to us as parents as well. He said, either way, whether I'm here or not, this person is going through what they're going through. I get an opportunity to be a part of the encouragement and the help and the blessing to them. And so think about that when it comes to our kids. They're here, they're given life, and they have the human condition and the struggle just as we all have. And we can either look at that as a problem or as an opportunity to be faced. So that concept really helped me a lot. The second, there is hope when we move from controlling to coaching. So now, early in life, it's got to be a lot about control, right? My wife understood this better than I did. We have twins, identical twin boys, and I remember the first time I watched them on my own once they could walk. And one of them was over near a shelf. There were some things that could definitely break. And I'm so proud of myself as a dad being on it because I was right there. And for about 10 minutes, I'm just focused, and we're going to preserve everything and his health and the safety of our home. And I totally forgot I had another one. And there was a man over doing repair on the home, and he said, dude, your other one's eating dinner. And I look back, and there's this potted plant. He's just shoving this into his mouth. And control is super important earlier. That changes as they hit these different life stages. Tina Payne Bryson said it this way: the goal of parenting is not to control your child, but to guide them in their journey toward autonomy. And that concept really helped me. Once I realized I'm losing control, James Dobson has had a service to families all through many, many years now, decades. And he talks about these stages, 0 to 3, it's basically control. You're trying to keep the child alive. And then this transformation begins to happen. At age 4, it really completes in one sense at the age of 12, where a young person begins to truly think their own thoughts. And that is a wonderful thing. I saw it as a problem. And I had to move in my parenting style from control to coaching. That we have an opportunity to help our kids hopefully go beyond us. That's our desire. So in the area of technology, I'm not terrible with technology. I have a son now who's just graduated from college, and he's in cybersecurity. He's working in that field already. He thinks I'm terrible in technology, and compared to him, I am. I like to play with his mind a little bit. I'll memorize a few cyber terms. I don't even know what they mean, but I'll shoot them out to him just to sound like I can keep up. He knows better. Right? He's beyond it, but that's good, right? That's what we want. Instead of trying to control that and stay ahead, we're coaching, we're empowering. The third concept that's really meant a lot to me, especially in moments of crisis, there is hope when we commit to never quitting on our kids. And that's been a very valuable thought for me. Rita Pearson said, every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists they can become the best they can possibly be. It's tempting when we see our young children struggle to quit on them. Maybe we don't verbalize that, but emotionally we might begin to withdraw or shut down. Sometimes it's in silly ways. So I grew up in Indiana, and I fell in love with basketball at an early age. And so I played all through high school. I played at a small college. And then I had these boys. And so I was so excited. And my boy, I signed him up for a league for the first time. Can I just say, 6-year-olds are terrible at basketball? And the disappointment in that moment of watching, and I remember within just a couple of games telling his mom, he's not an athlete. I had quit on him so fast. Well, the little runt grew, and he's 6'4" now. And I remember the first time as we would play, and he was growing up, that he blocked my shot for real. You know, you kind of let them do that when they're young. But he kind of got this look in his eye like, that was legit, wasn't it, Dad? And I'm like, okay, this kid that's not an athlete has now surpassed me, and it's never gone back. You know, we don't quit on our kids. I hit a moment of crisis with one of my boys who was going through a very dark valley. And I remember lying awake at night thinking about all of the potential catastrophic outcomes. And this concept of never quitting. And I had this thought, his mom and I are never going to quit. And that gave me the strength and the resilience that I needed in that moment. So in the workshop, I have an opportunity. There's a lot of great workshops going on. I'm going to, for each of these three, give a practical tool that's helped me and encouraged me, and I'd be able to pass that on to you as well. Thanks so much for being here today.
Can we just give all of our speakers a round of applause? Already this has been such a treat. We've got a lot of great breakout sessions, but just wanted to share with you a little bit about what's next. So we have our wellness fair going on over here, and we'd love to have you walk through there. We've got about 10 to 15 minutes until the breakouts start. So grab some more coffee, use the restroom. We have restrooms in this back corner here. And then also, if you have your map, the breakout sessions are kind of behind the media center there, most of them anyways. So I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you have any questions, just see somebody in a blue shirt. But we will start our breakout sessions about 10:15. So yeah, have a great time.